Hey everybody, it's Chu, and we're playing on the ladder. We're playing Stormhaven in Shadowverse. We are in A rank right now, A2, trying to climb to A3, starting at 2980. This is commentary after the fact. I just recorded some matches, and I'm going to comment on them. Some of my line of thinking, also pointing out where I made mistakes or could do something better. And hopefully we'll learn a little bit here. Stormhaven is a fairly aggressive deck, uses lots of minions that have Storm, which is the ability to attack the turn they come in, to be able to do lots of burst damage. Okay, we're playing second against Sword. Playing second is usually where we want to be. We don't have the amulets we want here, so aggressively mulliganing for stuff. We end up with some things we can play at turn 1 and 2. The Angelic Barrage is something that can be good against Sword, but I've been running into more mid-range Sword than I have Banner, and even the Banner ones are starting to tech against Angelic Barrage by running more 2 toughness creatures, so I don't feel comfortable keeping that in my opening hand, especially going first when we have, especially when we need to catch up and we need to mull for our stuff. We've got a good start here. We've got Sacred Plea into Beast Call Aria. We have a few things here. So Maid Leader into White Paladin to me signifies a control deck, because Maid Leader can dig for the commanders. White Paladin usually cares about just like putting a lot of wards on the board and defending and stuff. Whole Souled Swing is another sign of either mid or control sword, and yet another ward. This looks like a control list, but it's hard to be sure. Okay, so at this point, there are a few ways I can spend my mana. I have 4 mana available, which means I could just burn out a creature right now for 4. I could play Erd, but it wouldn't do much. It'd just be a 3/3 that would resummon one of the opponent's guys. I could play combinations of things. For example, my Bird Amulet for 3 and either Sacred Plea or Pinion Prayer for 1. Or I could put in Beast Call Aria for 2 and then either the 2 1-cost amulets or Heavenly Hound. I could Angelic Barrage and a 1-cost amulet. There's a bunch of different ways that I can use this mana, but we have a couple priorities here. Priority 1 is we need to not die, because they have 3 guys on the board and they're going to be able to evolve next turn and we have none. Priority 2 is we need to start developing a board that can fight back and take it, and also start presenting our own threats. So there's a few ways we could do it. Next turn, the Beast Call Aria that we have on board is going to pop, so that can take out either White Paladin or the Veteran Lancer, the 3/2 and 2/2. So we have that in the hand already. I am not terribly concerned about White Paladin evolving, so I don't mind putting creatures here. If they evolve, we have an Angelic Barrage that would not only take out any of their 1/1 wards, but also the Maid Leader. So I'm not worried about that. I think the best thing we can do here is play Beast Call Aria and then put down Heavenly Hound. Now, there's a question of whether we should evolve to fight back for this board. I don't think we need to, because I don't think this is an aggressive Sword deck. They have more guys than we do because we had a slow start, but with the preponderance of wards and starting with a Maid Leader, that tells me that this is a deck that wants to draw cards and it wants to wait and win on card quality in the late game rather than rush me down. Right now it's in the position to rush down and it's going to take as much free damage as it can get, but I don't think this is an aggressive deck. I don't foresee them playing a Banner or something and hitting me incredibly hard. And so I think the best call is to put down a Beast Call Aria, put down a Heavenly Hound to encourage them to either trade or punish them for not trading next turn, because next turn we can start evolving things and start fighting back. Heavenly Hound can trade for something bigger like White Paladin. So I think the best thing we can do is put down Beast Call Aria and Heavenly Hound. Heavenly Hound to contest the board in the next turn, and the Beast Call to invest in a stronger board overall. Now, I don't spend that much time thinking through it when I'm playing, for a couple reasons. First is I don't have that much time to actually think through it in the game. I have to think under pressure. The other is that, like any number of Shadowverse players or players of any strategy game, I don't spend enough time thinking about these things. Okay, so they try to punish by putting in a Floral Fencer, but they're only going to get one more guy out of it. But they have a full board, and that's not a joke. Okay, so we have 5 mana, and we have a full board that we need to get rid of. Our options are kind of bad here, especially because with all this stuff, if they are playing a banner, they can drop that if we take out even one guy and boost a bunch. So we want to remove as many things as we can. And I think the best thing we can do is crash the Hawk into White Paladin, the 3/2, to trade that out evenly. Evolve our Tiger and take out Veteran Lancer so that we have a 6/4 left and they have no wards. And then spend our 5 mana, 4 to burn out the 4/3 and 1 to play Sacred Plea, and they would be left with 2 guys, just a 2/2 and a 1/1, and we'd have 9 health. It's still not great, but it takes the most threats off the board, it spends our mana efficiently, and it leaves them in a harder place to kill us. They would have to bring 6 damage out of hand, and I'm struggling to think of a way they can do that. I guess if they had 2 of the 3-cost 2/2s with Storm and then they evolve 1, that would do it. But that's about the only thing I could think of that could kill us that turn. And the more turns this goes, the longer the things go in our favor, because we draw more cards, we have more burst damage, we have bigger guys. So we just want to expand on our ability to continue playing the game. The longer we play the game, the better it goes for us. And that is what we should do. Unfortunately, it's not what I did do. Okay. So, what I do is I start with an Angelic Barrage. And that, I don't have another mana to play another Barrage, which is what would have made that really strong. Would have wiped out a bunch of guys. But I didn't have the mana to do that, and I knew that. It wasn't a miscount or anything like that. It was a reactive play. It was the lizard brain thinking, here is a big horde of guys, we should play Angelic Barrage because that's what you do when you have a big horde of guys, without stopping to think, what is the actual impact of this? And because of it, I get punished. I'm not saying that we would have won this game, but we certainly had a chance to take some more turns out of it, and that would have given us, a shot at winning. So we could have improved our game there. We probably still would have lost, but the more turns you can manage to take, the more chances you give yourself to win. So let's look at another game here. Okay. The Haven Mirror. Somebody rocking the newbie tag despite being in AA rank. Hate people that do that. We're going first, which is never good. And this is not a great hand for going first. None of this really works together. We don't have anything that works well on the board, but we got a Beast Call Aria off the top. So our turn 2 can be productive. Turn 3 can be productive with Hallowed Dogma if we don't end up with anything better to do. We can use Hallowed Dogma to draw a card and pop Beast Call Aria and get our guys on the board quickly and aggressively. And that could salvage what is otherwise a really ugly hand. Okay, so they're starting with Sacred Plea, Bellringer Angel. That tells me that they're probably playing a control-oriented deck like a Ilana Haven kind of deck. Next turn we'll have 4 mana. We didn't use our mana optimally there because we couldn't really. But yeah, okay, so there's the Ilana, and they're probably playing Seraph also. But now we have 4 mana, so we can do some other things with it. We're just going to attack, make use of our stuff here. And yeah, we're dropping an Erd to resummon the Hawk so it can attack again. Because if this is an Ilana deck, they're going to try to heal themselves and build some big guys. Now, I may have made a mistake because I created a board that is very soft to Baldy, Cudgel Priest. He could come in here and he could exile Erd and then kill the Tiger and still have 1 toughness left. But he didn't have that. This guy doesn't seem to have the best hand to fight us here, so... But I guarantee you he is running Cudgel Priest. This, however, gives us a great opportunity to use our 5 mana, because now we can do this, create a great opening for Angelic Barrage, clear the board. You always have to clear the board against Ilana Haven, because they just snowball the size of their dudes. That let us spend 5 mana efficiently and build toward a strong turn next turn with Garuda. We evolve the Tiger here because we are pressuring their life total, and they are dead next turn if they don't remove that Tiger, because we can hit them with a lot of damage out of hand. Every single card in our hand right now represents damage out of hand. Either Hallowed Dogma finishing our Beast Call to throw another Hawk at him, Garuda throwing damage at the face, Dance of Death throwing damage at the face, Moonwell Mirage having Storm. But since he healed, we're bringing out Garuda to get that extra 3, and there we go. He should have spent an Evolve. Well, he couldn't have used the Evolve there to take out the Tiger, so there was nothing he could do. I think we played that well. Other than when we left ourselves open to Priest of the Cudgel, but we didn't get punished for it, and I don't know that there was a better play. Let's move on to another game. Okay, and we are up against Shadow. Shadow at this part in the ladder almost always just means aggro, occasionally with Path to Purgatory on top. Okay, we're going to get rid of Divine Birdsong, we're going to keep Beast Call and Priest. Priest is extra strong when you're on the second turn, or second person to go, and even more so against Shadow, because they want their guys to die, and Cudgel can exile them instead, which means they don't get a Shadow. We were lucky to pull Sacred Plea off the top, because that gives us something to do with our mana turn 1, so we can start curving out here. And yeah, they're starting with a 1-2. That means aggro deck right here. They want to start hitting as soon as possible. We can play Heavenly Hound or Beast Call. Since we have Hallowed Dogma, I think it's best to play Beast Call next turn, because on turn 3 we can pop it early. And then turn 4, we can have Priest of the Cudgel. Okay, he's getting a kind of slowish start. I mean, he's got guys out there, but they're not hitting very hard. Oh, and we have a perfect way to use our mana here. We can Hallowed Dogma off of Beast Call to set it going and spend our other mana on Sacred Plea or Pinion Prayer. I want Pinion Prayer because we're going to have Sacred Plea going off next turn anyway. We don't need more cards. We need more board presence to fight off an aggro deck. And then we can play Sacred Plea later. Okay, he spends Angelic Barrage there. But he can't evolve to take out the Tiger, and he's definitely not going to go for a 3-for-1. So we've still got a bigger guy here. Okay, and here's where we take the board with Priest of the Cudgel. We're going to exile the 1-2 and then kill the 1-4. By exiling that 1-2, not only does he not get the Shadow for it dying, he doesn't get the Shadow that comes with its little death rattle. So now we have a board. We have 2 bigger guys, and he has nothing, and only has the same amount of evolve points as us. I'm looking at Garuda in hand and seeing that we have Sacred Plea there. We could pop that off of him, It looks like we want to play 2 Heavenly Hounds to have wards up and play Sacred Plea with our 5th mana just to be efficient. Which one is he going to kill? Okay, he's killing the Tiger because he knows that the Tiger hasn't evolved yet, and that represents more damage. That makes sense. And yeah, I think this is still the best thing we can do, but since we got Pinion Prayer, maybe we want to do that instead. Yeah. So we still don't need cards. We still have just so much pressure. So let's just finish this game here. And now he has to get through 2 wards to take down the guys that are threatening him. Death's Breath. Alright, so he's got 3 zombies with ward, and that's kind of a pain. Now, how do we best take this out? Now, we've got the superior board here, and we have the initiative, so I'm not super worried about this, but it is going to be costly, and he's getting it out of 1 card, so I think it's important to do it as efficiently as we can. We have a few 6-drops we could play if we kill something off, but the only thing we could kill off would be the Falcon, and if it crashed into something, it would do it for basically no benefit other than to soften up one of the zombies to be killed by a Hound. We could do that. We could go Falcon and Hound into one of the 2/3s to kill it, Priest into another of the 2/3s to kill it, and let's say Moon Al Mirage goes in with 3 Storm to kill the other one, and then we hit for 2 with the remaining Hound. And that's not terrible, but I feel like we can probably do better. Especially since putting out Moon, we really want to evolve her to get the most out of the Storm, and there's no sense in evolving her and only taking out a 2/3 and then just leaving it out there to get killed by a kill spell or something. So my first inclination is that Moon is not the best thing to play here. We're looking at Demonic Strike in our hand for 4. That happens to nicely take out one of the 2/3s, and I think that's a good idea. And that would leave us with enough mana left to play Hallowed Dogma. It would draw us a card and finish off the Pinion Prayer. And so if we did that, we Demonic Strike one of the zombies. We Hallowed Dogma from Pinion Prayer, and now we have a full board, and we crashed Priest into one of the zombies to kill it, and then I think probably crash both the Falcons in, because we don't want to hurt our wards. We want our 2/4s to stay strong, so that they die to fewer things. For example, Foul Tempest. We don't want them to die to that. And the Falcons will die to it whether it's boosted by the Necromancy or not. Foul Tempest will either do 1 damage to all our guys or 3, depending on if he has Necromancy. So, yeah, I think that's our best plan. It leaves us with 2 wards up. We still have our Priest, who will be trucking along at 4/1. We clear off some space from these Falcons so that we can do something bigger next turn. Like, we'll have 7 mana, we could Sacred Plea into Garuda to draw a bunch of cards, do 3 damage, and put another body on the board. And I think that is probably our best play. So we start with that. Take that out. Okay, instead we're evolving the Hound. I guess that's not terrible, because we're at a point where we want to just keep pressuring, and having a bigger ward means it's likely to kill something if it comes, and we still have wards that are big enough to survive Foul Tempest, and we do more damage this way because we get our guys through. He's got another Death's Breath, okay. And the Skeleton Fighter doesn't matter. Skeleton Fighter is basically imaginary. So he's evolving that to take out, oh, he's going for the small ward. That's interesting. I guess he wants to protect it from the Falcon, make us pay more for it. Now, my first instinct here is apparently to crash our 4/4 Hound into one of them, one of the small ones. Because I suppose we're going to want to spend our 4/1 to take out the 4/3, because it's dead no matter what it hits, so it might as well take out the big guy. So that makes sense. We use our 4/4 to take out one of the smaller ones. We use our 4/1 to take out one of the bigger ones. And then we only have to crash through a 2/3. Now, we don't really. I don't think there's nothing we can do about that gets us the win here. So I think the best thing we can do is, at that point, we put down Moon Al Mirage to crash through the last zombie, and that leaves us with a board of a 4/2 Ward Hound, the 2/2/1 Birds, Moon Al Mirage, and we'll have who will heal after she kills the 2/3 because that's what she does, and we can spend our last mana on Sacred Plea, so that if for some reason we still haven't put this away next turn, when Garuda lands, he'll draw cards and shoot the face. And I think that's the best thing we could do. Any other situation, we'd have to spend Evolves to clear the board, and I still don't want to. I don't want to spend Evolves just to clear these wards that we can already take out. Okay, so let's see it play out. Yeah, plays out the same way. And then Moon. And actually, it's probably better to trade one of the 2/1s into the 2/2 than go face here. Yeah. And there's Moon healing. So now we've got 3 guys left on the board. He has 6 health, 3 cards, no evolves. At this point, we win. I don't think there's anything that's going to drag him back from this. He can Dance of Death our Moon, and that's fine. But then he's out of gas.
Most impressive.
Gotta get that BM in at the end.
I pray that you will be freed from suffering.
Okay, so we're on to our next match here. And this one is also against Swordcraft. I know that because I already looked. Hopefully this one goes a little better than the last. We're going first, which normally disadvantageous, but if they're playing Banner or something, it could work to our advantage. Keeping those because I am scared to mull Prism Priestess, who is a body and keeps us in the game, and get like a 6-drop or something, and then Pinion Prayer is the only card that we have. That would suck. So keeping Pinion Prayer because it's something we can play on turn 1. Prism Priestess keeps us in the game on turn 3, even if we don't have a turn 2. And look, we draw Sacred Plea. It's not the optimal use of the turn, but it's something we can do with our mana and keep developing the game. He didn't play anything turn 1. Okay, so he's starting with Maid Leader also. Again, that normally means mid-range or control because they're not trying to like rush us down. They're just trying to draw cards and build on their game. Now here, I expect Maid Leader to crash into my Falcon and then Whole Souled Swing to kill my 3-drop and replace it with a soldier of their own. But let's see what they do. Okay, Novice Trooper instead. Similar idea, but better for us. The fact that they're clearing the board does to me suggest that they're playing some kind of mid-range or control. We have 4 mana here. I want to play Beast Call Aria, but then we leave mana on the table if we do it. So I'm spending the 3 and 1. If we play Beast Call next turn, for example, if we decide we don't want to play Priest of the Cudgel, then we can have Garuda pop it, and so it's more time efficient too. Okay, so now the inclination is to play Priest of the Cudgel here because we have 2 guys that we can take out with 1 card. But, I mean, honestly, they only played 1 card there themselves, so it's not like we're gaining some crazy value here. And we'd be fighting back for a board that isn't incredibly pressing. I could see maybe doing that if we were on the second turn, so that we are the one who has 3 evolves, but we only have 2, and I don't know that that is the best way we can use our evolve point. It's also definitely not the best way we can use our mana, because we have 2 ways that we can spend 5. We can either Dance of Death something, which is out of the question. We're not Dance of Deathing a 2-point follower, or a 2/2. just to kill a guy and do 2 damage. Dance of Death should be saved for something much bigger. But our alternative is to play Divine Birdsong and Beast Call Aria. And I like that play because Priest of the Cudgel would be spending one of our 2 evolves just to get rid of a 4 mana play and be hurt already. And that's not super great. Especially considering that next turn Pinion Prayer is going to go off, and it's going to take off half of that anyway. Our little 1-cost card is going to take out half of their 4-cost card. So it's trading up, and that's cool. And Divine Birdsong is also going to go off, and if we decide we want to, we could trade into that also. And basically just, I'm not concerned by a couple 2/2s right now when we haven't taken any pressure. I don't want to spend an evolve on it. So I think we let them put the damage on us for next turn, and we build toward a better board. If we put Beast Call Aria and Divine Birdsong down, not only are we building toward a better board than if we'd put Cudgel down, but it sets us up for a stronger turn 6 when we can play Wing Sentinel Garuda to pop either Beast Call or Divine Birdsong, the ones that are in our hand, that we're about to play. And, probably pop Beast Call because it will be more turns on it and more value. But if we need Storm right away, we could pop Birdsong. So we have more flexibility, we have a more fierce board if we do that, we have more options on turn 6 if we do that, because we're not locked into playing Garuda on turn 6. We could also just as easily play Moon or play other things that we draw. So, yeah, I really think that's the better play. It ends up being what we do. I know that I didn't think through all of those reasons, but I did decide that Priest of the Cudgel was not getting enough value here, and that it's worth just taking the damage to the face to build a stronger game in the future. And yeah, that's exactly what we end up doing. We're not contesting the board yet, but we're going to have a much stronger few turns coming up now. And that's all he's playing, Royal Banner, and then evolving 1 to get the face damage in. That's not a problem.
Harder armor, stronger armor.
Stop! Stop!
Now, originally the plan here was to play Garuda to pop Beast Call Aria, but we still have our guys. And I'm not really sure that it's the best plan because it doesn't give us any solution to what's on board. We could crash the Falcon in to the 3/2, but then let's see. Yeah, we fill our board, and then we have to evolve either Garuda or the Tiger to be able to take out the Garuda or the Tiger to take out the 5/4, or the other Falcon to take it out and trade and die. And neither of those are super great when we can play Priest of the Cudgel here and sort of just have it do its job and continue to pressure. I don't know, actually. When I think about it, it might be the better play to crash one Falcon in, evolve the other Falcon to into the 5/4, crash that, and then we are left with a 3/4, a 4/4, and another 4/4, and Divine Birdsong ready to pop. There's also Blackened Scripture, and there are a few options with that. We could, but none of them that play really nice with the rest of our mana, because Priest of the Cudgel and Blackened Scripture is the only way we can play those cards, and they kind of duplicate each other because they both can only exile that 3/2. I suppose we could play out Priest of the Cudgel, exile the 3/2, crash the 2/1 into the 5/4, Blackened Scripture that, and then we're left with a board of just a 3/4, a 4/5, and then the 2 amulets, and that might actually be better. I don't want to put out Moon Almirage and evolve her because that is just a removal magnet. I want her to, especially when that guy still has 2 evolves left. I want Moon Almirage to drop out when the guy no longer has evolves and Moon can start making advantageous trades or rush to the face with no responses. So yeah, I think honestly that's probably our best bet is Priest of the Cudgel, evolve him to exile the 3/2, crash the Hawk into the 5/4, blacken Scripture to take that out. But that ends up not being what we do. So let's watch it play out.
Your evil deeds end now.
And I guess the advantage to doing it the way that we do it here is that we're trading a 4-drop and an evolve for a 4-drop and an evolve, and we continue to put pressure on the face. We're not left with a guy who's sitting on the board who didn't attack the face. And I guess there's some benefit to that, considering we have Garuda here, who can force 3 more to the face, and then there's going to be even more coming from Moon and our amulets that are going to pop. Alright, so that's a pretty sweet setup here. And yeah, I think here we take out the 3/2, we take out the 5/2 with Blackened Scripture, and we build toward a better turn. We don't need Garuda here to advance this if we can just build a better side than he's got. We are currently we have the initiative here because we have the ability to put down more burst damage, more damage out of hand, and we have just as many evolve points as him. So yeah, we're doing it like this instead, so we can get a full board clear and force 2 damage with Dance of Death, and then that's not terrible. Since we know that he's playing Banner, we're not likely to see something like Aurelia. And if we do see something like Aurelia, we're going to have plenty of ways to kill it. And yeah, he just played a 4/2 that doesn't really have any options. He's going to trade there. And that sucks for us, but yeah. Beast Call Arya is popping next turn. We're going to have the initiative. We can definitely trade the 2/1 into the 4/2. And here I want to evolve Moon Almirage and put down Heavenly Hound to ward it, so that it's really hard to kill her next turn, and because she's going to force 5 face damage right here. So yeah, now we have tons of damage here, and he's going to have a hard time taking that back with just an evolve. And we did it also that way because we can set up a turn 9 where we can drop Birdsong and Garuda. It's something to keep an eye out on. I like playing these 2 together on turn 9 because it is 6 damage out of hand plus however much if you have evolves left. You get 2 creatures, 6 damage out of hand. It's a really good play. And 6 damage out of hand is lethal even if he somehow figures out how to clear this board.
My friends, lovely day for a fight.
It all ends here.
Okay, he spends that, but he doesn't have... Okay, yeah, I forgot the banner. So he has enough to take out the Hound. And then Dance of Death that. So we could kill him a few ways here, but let's just show him the fancy one.
These golden wings will end you.
Make sure he knows that we had him a few different ways.
Seen this most impressive.
I'm not sure that everything we did there was optimal, but I think we made mostly the right decisions. into another game. And it's Shadow, and because it's Shadow at this rank, it's almost certainly Shadow aggro again. We're going first, which, like I said, normally bad, might be good for this situation. All of those cards are bad for going first, though. This is not terrible. Black in Scripture to cut some of his early aggression out and also deprive him of shadows, and Manu to contest the board and not die to spells. So that's not bad. Erd is awkward because we don't really have anything for it, and if we have to blink his stuff, he's going to get extra shadows, and that kind of sucks. Heavenly Hound is nice to get. It's probably not going to have a ward. We're probably going to run it out as just a 2-2 to contest this board. Aggro has to be fought. Now we have a few ways to spend this mana, and none of it is going to spend all three of it. We have a choice of different 2-drops to play with a 3-mana turn here. Now, the plan I had been going for before I drew Beast Call Aria was to play Black in Scripture on the 2-2, and then either have Manu go and hit the 1-1, or just go face and challenge him to a race, because we have a lot of burst damage and we can surprise him with that. But Beast Call Aria gives me a new option, and it makes me kind of want to play that. It won't contest the board, but it's a much stronger card, and it's one we want to get out as soon as we can, especially since we have Erd in our hand, because Erd plays really well with Storm minions, like the Falcon that comes out of Beast Call. We could also play Heavenly Hound, but I would really like to save that for turn 5, when we can evolve something and play out Heavenly Hound with a ward because of it, since it's really nice to have beefy ward minions against an aggro opponent. So if we don't play Black in Scripture here, my thinking is he's almost certainly trading the 2-2 into ours, because ours is higher quality and he has harder ways of killing it. If we evolve our 2-2 into a 4-4, for example, things get pretty bad for him, because it can't be targeted with spells. So basically, if we play Beast Call Aria right now, our creature will probably die next turn. And I end up deciding that that's probably worth it, because it takes some pressure off of our face, and because I know that Shadow aggro runs a variety of 3-drops that are more aggressive than that 2-2, and we'll get more benefit out of saving Black in Scripture for whatever it is he plays on turn 3. So I'm willing to let our creature go if we have to, and move with Beast Caller Aria instead. And since I'm concerned about the face, what I should have done is not raced there. I should have traded the 2-2 into the 1-1, so that even if he trades his 2-2 into ours, we get a 2-for-1. I was getting greedy and I went for the face there, even though we're not playing a strategy now that's very racy. But here we get Black in Scripture, and we get to evolve something that would have brought out another, or we get to exile a guy that would have brought out yet another creature. So we got value there. I think it was a mistake not to attack our 2-2 into the 1-1 the previous turn. Next turn, things are looking pretty weird, because we don't have a lot of good options for Erd, and there's a very good chance it's the only thing we can play.
Let's get into trouble. I'm coming for you.
Okay, and that board is getting a little nasty. And yeah, if we'd killed that guy, he wouldn't have a 3-1 there. So he wouldn't have the ghost to hit us off of his 2-2 that came in either. So he would have to evolve one of his other guys to do it. So yeah, the only thing we can play here is Erd plus Pinion. Pinion is not great here because he's going to get another Shadow, but if we turn his 3-1 into back into a 1-1, we cut his damage potential down, and we say if you want it back, you're going to have to spend another evolve point. So it's not the worst play. Basically, just we should have killed that thing from the start, and we didn't, and now we're suffering consequences in different ways. We can try to minimize it. But yeah, now we've got Cerberus to deal with, so it gets that much worse. Cerberus is amazing.
Want to play?
I know the card says Cerberus, and it shows, you know, some half-naked anime girl, which isn't at all a very Cerberus kind of thing, but what are you going to do? Okay, so here that pops. We want to kill Cerberus before it evolves. We also want to kill the 4/4. We've got a variety of plays here. I think you trade Erd into Cerberus because you want Cerberus dead. You don't want a 5/5 on the board. And then you have a couple different options here for 6-drop. Garuda gives us the most action, though, immediately because it puts another body out and gives us our Falcon. And, yeah. So we can trade our Falcons into that. And now we've got two 4/4s versus his 1/1 and 1/2, and we're at 11 health. It feels pretty safe. If he evolves, he can do 4 here rather than 2, but that's not super scary. And this is why we were wrong and are going to get punished. Because we forgot that there's 4 extra damage in hand from Cerberus. There's 2. There's 2 more. And then it evolved that. That's 2. And now we have exactly lethal. If we had evolved either of our guys to take out one of those things on the board, we would still be alive. We may not have won, but we would have had a chance. We made some mistakes. We underestimated what we were running into, and we paid for it. We made at least 2 mistakes that I see. The second one may not have been an issue if we had played smarter from the start. So, yeah. Got to spot those mistakes, and you got to be willing to accept them and own them to be able to learn in these games. Let's move on to another match. Okay, another sword match. Oh, we get to go second against sword this time. Okay. I see they're running Otahime sleeves. That suggests to me mid-range, but they could just be messing around. I mean, we're running Otahime sleeves just because they're neat. Keeping Beast Call because it's the best turn 2. Keeping Prism Priestess because I don't want to be caught with my pants down with like that being a 6-drop. So yeah, we've got way too many 3s here, but I think it's better than having risked like playing nothing on turn 3. And we've got a turn 2, 3, 4 here, and potentially more, so I think this is okay. Veteran Lancer doesn't really signal anything. That can be banner, that can be mid-range, that can be control. Ascetic Knight, that makes me think either banner or mid-range. Again, see, it makes Angelic Barrage suck. A lot of the aggressive sword decks are teching against Angelic Barrage by not running the like X1 token makers and so forth. Instead, they're running lots of X2s, which make Barrage suck. 2 Maid Leaders. Alright, to me this looks like he's setting up for a banner turn. So I want to do something to stop this. And that's why I'm spending Angelic Barrage here, rather than putting out a creature that isn't going to do a lot of work. Angelic Barrage cuts down the amount of damage we're going to take if he plays Banner by half. And it makes his turn suck a lot. Okay, so he's playing Princess Vanguard. I haven't seen that, actually. And Goblin, yeah. I mean, if you're playing Goblin in Sword, that is specifically because you're teching against Angelic Barrage. And he's evolving that guy to put him out of Angelic Barrage range also, so that the most I can take is 1 thing. But this gives us a good opportunity here to play Priest of the Cudgel and get a lot of value. Because we can take out the 3/3 and then something smaller. Now, he's already spent half of his evolves. His board is going to be much worse than ours, and we have lots of stuff coming in the next turn. We could play Garuda to draw some more cards and do some damage to the face. Sage Commander is going to make this a little harder. We could play Divine Birdsong and Prism Priestess. It feels like it's not really impactful enough after what he just did to us. But let's see what we can do here. Okay. So yeah, we can just crash our first priest in here and then priest another to wipe his board. And we don't have anything we can do with our 2 mana here, but with 7 life left, we're not leaving 4 damage on the table here. We have to clear. This is the right choice.
Avenge me, comrades!
So we don't have a lot of life left, but he's running out of gas. He's trying to draw more with Avant Blader, which is weird. That suggests to me mid-sword, but again, I see sword decks anymore, and they don't make any damn sense. Let's play Heavenly Hound before we attack so we can get the ward here. And then, yeah, this is our best way to use a bunch of this. I could have used Hallowed Dogma to pop Divine Birdsong, but we have Garudas, so we may want to use that to pop it next turn anyway, get some surprise damage. We don't need to rush him down. Right now, what we need to do is stabilize. So he's thinking, we only have 2 on board. He might be playing mid-range, so we don't want to put out 3 unless we're confident we can handle an Aurelia. And yeah, okay. Okay, so we have a few options here. Priorities are to clear his board, because again, we can't leave him with damage out there, and to start putting down pressure because we have lots of damage that can hit him in the face. So my first thought is we have these low power guys, this 2/2 and 2/4, that can trade favorably into his 1/2s, and we need something to take out the 3/4. We don't really have anything to do that unless we evolve. But if we drop Garuda, we do 3 to the face, we free up the bird, and we can evolve Garuda to take out the 3/4, and then we still have a 6/3 left. And then our board is 2/3, 3/4, 2/1, 6/3, and that looks pretty good. And he'll be at 16. Well, no, he'll be at 13 because we're gonna bolt him with Garuda and hit the 3 to the face off the bird. So let's see, that would be 6, 8, 10, 13. That would be 19 left on board, and he would have an empty board with no evolves, and I think that is the best possible play. We could do things that are more conservative, like try to Prism Priestess into an Amulet and Hallowed Dogma and play for value and stuff, but he's spent his evolves, and we need to stabilize, and we need to finish him off. And I think playing like that gets us, playing with Garuda gets us both of those options here. It also gives us more to do with Erd next turn if for some reason he has, he puts up some big blockers and we need other ways to get damage through. At this point, playing to have advantageous trades is playing right into Aurelia, but he can't evolve Aurelia, so the most it'll have is 6 toughness, and Garuda can smash right into that. So I think it's safe to play into it. And there's Aurelia. We will gladly trade a 6/3 for that.
I live to serve. My loyalty is ironclad. Golden staff.
I was naive. Let me show you something.
I don't have anything that gets the kill here and now, so instead of playing for the kill, we're going to play to shut him down. We still keep our ward. And then Erd to hit him one more time to remind him what's up.
You wouldn't.
And it's a lethal board again, and he's got nothing. Since we didn't have to kill, the best thing we could do is ensure that we don't lose and set ourselves up for a better turn. Okay.
This must be fate.
So can we hit him for 7? Yeah, we can. can probably.
Show you something.
Let's go fishing for cards. There's a bird song, and then we have the tools to dig it out. Garuda wouldn't have done it because we'd be drawing cards instead. But yeah, now we can do that, and we have all the damage we need.
Wouldn't. I should have foreseen this. Most impressive.
And that's the end of our quest. We cut out a couple games here where they were just like really boring wins or really boring losses. These I think were instructive. We lost when we deserved it. We won a couple times. We got lucky-ish, but I think we made some good decisions.